Hello. So we're going to do our last grammar lesson. I feel like it's pretty easy. And so I think we're going to do a twofer. We're going to do page 355, and then we'll also do 356, which is a review about negatives. And that's probably going to be a helpful thing for us to review. So let's look at 355. We're going to talk about making comparisons. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. It says circle the correct word in parentheses to complete each sentence. So we're remembering our rule of 2 and 3 plus, right? With however we're comparing. If there are adverbs or not, or if there's better or best, or more or most, we're going to be thinking about 2 things we're comparing or 3 things. Dennis smiles of all his friends. Are we doing wider or widest? There's more. He probably has more than 3 friends. This would be comparative, wider. If you had 2 people, this is 3 plus. So I think that's our correct answer. Number 2, I think clothing dries quickly in warm air than in cold, said Dana. So we're comparing warm air and cold air. We're comparing 2 things. Are we going to use most or more? Think for a second. We're probably going to be using more if we're comparing 2 things. Most would be for 3 or more. I shop at Bloom's Market frequently than I shop at Lynn's Market. We're comparing 2 things. What do you think? Would we use more or most for 2? I would say probably more is comparative, right? And most is superlative. So we would say I shop at Bloom's Market more frequently than I shop at Lynn's Market. Let's look at number 4. Of all the fruits sold at Bloom's Market, the bananas will likely sell out first. So all the fruits. So we're going to want to use superlative, right? Most is going to be the superlative. All right. And here's the last one. It's a double. When teams choose players, Beth is readily chosen, then Brianne. So there's 2. Most or more? 2. More, right? Because she runs, I would say we're still comparing the 2 girls, right? So we're going to use faster because she runs faster. I don't think we'd say fastest because we haven't added any other girls to that thought. All right, let's flip over and do the back page. We did a whole week where we talked about negatives, and we said that you can only have 1 negative in a sentence. You can't have a double negative, which means you have 2 negative words. So a word that makes a sentence mean no is called a negative. The words no, no one, nobody, none, nothing, and never are negatives. The word not and contractions made from not are also negatives. You can never use 2 negatives together in a sentence. That's really important. So we don't want to use a double negative. All right. So here's an incorrect sentence. There weren't no fish in the pond. The correct way to say it is there weren't any fish in the pond. There were no fish in the pond. There's 2 different ways to say it correctly. I hear people talking like this all the time, and I want to scream at them. Stop using double negatives. I won't never give away my frog. Or I ain't never going to give away my frog. I won't ever give away my frog. I will never give away my frog. So there's 2 different ways to say that properly and to not sound like a bumpkin saying it like this. Okay? All right. We're going to write the negative word on the line that's provided. Nobody wanted to leave. So go ahead and write the negative on the line. I'll give a little pause so that you can write it before I write the answer. I got nobody. Number 2, I can't finish this assignment on time. Go ahead and write the negative. I'll give you a few seconds. I got can't. Number 3, before this class, I had never studied reptiles. I got never. Number 4, I had no interest in learning about newts. We had a newt when I was little Karen. My brother and I had fish tanks, and my brother liked his fish tank to have all kinds of weird fish, and so he got a newt and put it in his tank. And newts kind of have to be in a special fish tank that's covered, and my brother's fish tank had a little opening at the back. So the newt crawled out and was lost somewhere in our house, and we knew my mom would just completely freak out if she knew there was anything that looked like a lizard in her house loose. So my brother and I crawled around on the carpet. We found the newt in the hallway. So it was a good save because the newt was in the middle of the hallway and would have probably been stepped on. So no is our word there. I had no interest in learning about newts. He was really cute, the little newt. All right, now we're going to rewrite some sentences and we're going to correct the errors where they have used double negatives. Okay, so we'll correct it here on the paper, and then we'll write it. We'll do all the corrections on the text, and then we'll write it below. Jason can't go nowhere until he finishes his chores. Well, I would take the nowhere and I would make it into anywhere. Right? That's one way to do it. You could also say, Jason can go. Nah, that's probably the easiest way to do it. Let's just stick with that. Jason can't go anywhere until he finishes his chores. So my brother put the newt back in the tank and covered the hole at the back so that it wouldn't escape again. He also had a really weird fish that looked like a snake. It was called a loach. And I think he had the loach and the newt at the same time in his tank. Before taking this class, Pete didn't know nothing about reptiles. What could we change? I would probably change this into anything. All right. Number 7, I don't like nothing about insects. So we could just cut out don't, and we could say, I like nothing about insects. That's one way to do it. I like nothing about insects. Or we could say, we could take nothing and make it into anything. Number 8, Jim doesn't never want to miss a class again. So we could say Jim never wants to miss a class again, or we could say this could stay doesn't, and this could be ever. And I think that's an easier, that kind of has the same spirit of the sentence that we started out with. Sorry, lights out. Okay. So I hope this was a little reminder to you about double negatives, that you cannot use double negatives in a sentence. Otherwise, you sound like you're butchering or torturing English. I think double negatives is one of the things that really stands out because it's really obvious to our hearing that we're hearing English being used incorrectly, right? So always keep your double negatives to a minimum. Never use two together in a sentence when you're speaking or you're writing. All right. Thanks for joining me. I hope this helped you. And thanks for doing a little bit of extra today. I feel like that first assignment was just a really quick little review. So this was a good topic to review as well. All right. So thanks for joining me. And I will talk to you later.